Hey, welcome everybody. I'm John Paul Mendocha, Dr. Speed Selling, and this is the Raging Verbalist number 67. Yeah, 67. So we are rocketing our way along, and today's kind of a really special one, special in the fact of our topic area, which you're going to find out about shortly. And with me, as always, to stand in your place, if you will, to ask those questions that you would ask the Raging Verbalist if you were here, but you're not. You're out there. And by the way, if you want to get and ask your questions so you get them here, go to our Facebook page, Position to Win Book. Position to Win. It's actually Position to Win or Position to Win Book. I'll
It
ask.
starts position to win, and then it's the full most business fail in the first 5 minutes title. So position to win will get you there.
There you go. And that is the lovely Sandra. Sandra, thank you for correcting me and keeping me on the straight and narrow. So by the way, for all of you who are out there, you can also go to I've been told the right way to do this is to do this up front, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell, all those things, or go to Facebook. So anyway, all right, what is the first question? What are we talking about today?
All right. What were you doing a year ago when COVID-19 was kicking off?
Well, what I was doing a year ago and getting ready to do is I was getting ready to launch the book. Most businesses fail in the first 5 minutes. It just takes 3 to 5 years to realize it. Position to Win. And Gabe Batista and I, he's my co-conspirator, co-author, and business partner, we're putting together the launch plan for that. And as we were doing that, and he had come out to California, and we were holed up in a hotel room working diligently on a launch plan and getting everything ready to go. And the whole world started to shut down. It was like just an amazing thing to watch. And we were like, uh-oh, this is not going to be good. In fact, we went out and met with our good friend who's on our podcast. By the way, we have a podcast, the Position to Win podcast. And he's actually our first repeat. But we went to Jim Wood's super secret location, and we did a couple of podcasts with him. And as we were getting ready for that, the whole world started shutting down. And I think that it became very apparent how serious this was going to be and how much it was going to affect everybody. So that's what I was doing a year ago, is doing that, and getting ready to you know I didn't get ready for I don't know what, but getting ready to see what was going to happen next.
All right. So what do you think of all the mixed messages that came out of the pandemic?
Well, if you look at all of the finger pointing and all of the stuff going on and all of that crazy, is that there was a lot of mixed messages. First off, we didn't know where it came from. We didn't know how dangerous it was. All of these things started happening, and there was a lot of different reactions. And I think the mixed messages, you know, purely from a communication standpoint, from a messaging standpoint, because that's one of the areas that I'm an expert in, really added and exacerbated the problem in a very big way. I mean, it was just a giant, absolute mistake the way this was done. And then once we got down the road and we had these mixed messages, we had all of these contradictions, we had some of this stuff going on. Now, there will be people who will swear up and down that there weren't, but unfortunately there's lots of video that shows what happened. And I think the mixed messages cost a lot of people lives. And more importantly is that it created this sense that we didn't know who to trust and who to believe or who not to believe. We also had people running around yelling that we should think about the science, and they kept saying the science, as if people who are scientists actually knew exactly what was going on. Uh, you know, think about it. When Vegas shut down at that point in time, Vegas had never shut down. I mean, and then all of a sudden, bang, countrywide, this thing is going on. So all I can say is that the mixed messages, I think, hurt it, and they still continue today, right? Today, now that we have the vaccine and we're moving forward, we'll talk more about this, I'm sure, later, but there's still a lot of bad communications going on, and it persists today. And I think that it was absolutely abysmal. And whoever was supposed to be in charge of this, I mean, here's the thing about political parties, they like to tell you they have the smartest people in the room, and this proves that they're not. This proves that there's a lot of dunderheads. See how I'm cleaning up my act, calling them dunderheads, and all of that. And I think that it was very, very bad, and it didn't make a lot of sense. And even today, there's not a lot that actually works that way. I was renting a car earlier today, and I can tell you that one of the things I saw was there was a guy who was wearing a mask, and he had the low slung one, as if his snout isn't, blasting out, all of this stuff. I mean, yikes. The last thing you want to do is be close to this guy if he's got something. And it's just because people don't know how to wear a mask. They don't have any clue of what it means. So I'd ask you, I mean, so what were some of the messages that cropped up in your world? And what were, could you make heads or tails out of it?
I feel like it was kind of all over the place, especially since a huge section of our 3/4 of our state's population is in one little sliver, like basically two cities, and everything else is empty. So you have a bunch of naysayers or it's not real, and then why lock things down? All just back and forth. But I think we did it, at least I feel we were more straightforward and did things kind of county by county or population. Because if you live in a unincorporated village of like 20 people in the middle of nowhere, you're probably less likely to get it or get it that soon. So I like the county by county approach. So they were straightforward about that, but yeah, it was all kind of confusing.
One of the things that had happened is that just before the entire, you know, spam had hit the fan, so to speak, is that I had been in Vegas, and we went over to the Bellagio, my wife and I, and they had this whole big decked out for the Chinese New Year, and they had an awful lot of people who were from China there, and in some ways, since it was, we didn't know where it was coming from, we didn't know how it was being spread. Is that I was always very pleased that it didn't get us. It didn't hit us the way it could have, because we were there. We were packed in with a lot of people, and it's not like we were there for Chinese New Year, but there was this huge displays inside the Bellagio, which was just incredibly well done. And but that was that. So all I can say is lots of mixed messages, and the sad part about it is that it still persists. And once you get a message wrong inside of somebody's head, it almost never gets knocked out. I mean, there's just, there is no, men in black, you hold up the little light and zap, people forget it. It just persists. And if you want to know an example of that, for those of you who have ever heard the story about how if you eat carrots, it's good for your eyes. It's important you eat carrots, it's good for your eyes. And Sandra, have you heard that?
I have, yes.
Okay. So that is fiction for all of you out there who are chomping away. And the reason for it is that the British, the English, made this up, and they built a campaign, and they told all of their citizens to eat carrots, and they pushed and pushed to eat carrots, and this thing spread like wildfire, and everybody was eating carrots because they were trying to strengthen everybody's eyes to see the German planes coming. And the Germans, of course, said, wow, we're getting all these planes shot down. We don't know why. And of course, they pointed to the carrots. The carrots are doing us in. If we can just get rid of those damn carrots. And what it was is it was subterfuge that was put together, true story, subterfuge to hide the fact that they had developed this thing called radar, and that they could see the planes coming because of radar and shoot them down. And now we are how many decades, 70, I think it's 79, almost 80 years later, and people are still talking about the damn carrots. It had nothing to do with carrots. It was a propaganda campaign and misdirection and subterfuge. So that's one of the downsides of these kind of urban mythologies. I mean, I had people telling me that you could suck on a lemon and not get this thing. And all I can tell you is because I had a lemon tree at once, you suck on a lemon tree, and what you do is you get a real sour in your face. And I was like, So, all right. So, Sandra, what is the next question that you have?
How has it affected your business and your clients?
Well, I can say that it has been a very rough year, and it's been a rough year because they had, everybody had plans that 2020 was going to be a very good year. It looked like it was going to be. 2019 had been a very good year. Had, in my engineering services business, had projects that were just shoved to the right. I had seen this during the Great Recession when it was shoved to the right, and we're still feeling the effects. And then all those major customers, their staffs did not come in. So imagine trying to run a major corporation where everybody's working remotely and none of the systems were in place. So we probably lost several months worth of business in that regard. Clients, had a client who was in the training business. He saw his business drop by 95% within a month. He saw more cancellations than he'd ever seen in the 10 years previously that he'd been in business. Now, all of this stuff has started to recover, but it's affected business greatly. And probably the worst part about it is that most of the government plans to help us all out, fill out a lot of forms and get us some money, or get some money, most of them do not apply to a lot of businesses. I mean, they apply to a very narrow patch of business. Sadly, people who are in the political realm do not understand what businesses look like a lot of smaller businesses, especially like the businesses that I'm associated with. So affected us in a lot of ways. And it affected us in many ways, in fact, when we were working to promote the book, because getting people on the phone, getting people to talk to us, getting people to do things, very hard to do. I mean, Sandra, how many events did we contact to see if I could get on stage and speak for that were canceled? How many were there? I mean, it was like,
Oh, the list was a good couple hundred for sure. There was quite a few, quite a few.
and all of them canceled out, right?
Yeah. The only thing I could think is if someone went digital or they postponed to like the following year and then are digital, that kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, and every year we'd been going to Freedom Fest, and that basically got wiped out, and all that. Now, what did happen is that we launched not one but two books in the middle of this. So if you have not read, you know, most businesses fail in the first 5 minutes. It just takes them 3 to 5 years to realize it. Position to Win, available at Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and wherever books are sold. If you can get in there, you can ask them, and you can actually get this because it's a real book. Also, it's available electronically for Kindle, Nook, and under Apple Store. On the other side, because of the pandemic, because of this, we actually wrote a second book. And the second book is Remote Work for a Better World. In fact, I just did an interview recently about this book on the radio. And I can tell you that it has a lot of good insights. It's 99 cents. And I can tell you that if you do anything remotely, this will help you one way, shape, or form. And go check that out. Also, you can go to positiontowinbook.com. That is the website, positiontowinbook.com, and you can get a copy there and ask me to sign it. And of course, I will do that. Maybe you can even say what you want to say, like, hey, from Bob, you're always great to Sally or something. I don't know. You got to figure that out. Also, we have a Facebook page, which Sandra talked about. So, what's the Facebook page again, Sandra?
Position to Win, and then the book title, Most Business Fail in the First 5 Minutes.
So go check it out, and of course, there's some freebies for you, and all of that. Okay, so Sandra, now on with the questions. What's the next one?
So, do you know people personally who were seriously affected?
Yeah, probably one of the saddest ones is that because of the way we launched the book originally, is that and for anybody who wants to go launch anything, is that you should have a prototype or have something that you can actually show people and give to people. And we did. And we actually, in the July of 2019, went to Freedom Fest, and we worked our tails off, and we handed out these pre-release copies to people just to see what we can get reaction and all that. And one of those people was a man named Herman Cain. And he was a really nice guy, and he took it. In fact, he also helped with a bunch of other people. But Herman Cain, when we showed it to him, and of course the original title was Position to Win, and then most businesses fail in the first 5 minutes. And he, like so many others that we showed the book, said, "Oh, wait, look, it says most businesses fail in the first 5 minutes." I fully agree with that. I fully understand that, and we changed it. We were working to try to get in touch with Herman after that when we ended up with the latest, or the version that was the real launch version. And sadly, he succumbed to complications because of COVID-19. So we lost Herman Cain. He was a nice guy. He was a good guy, and that was too bad. Uh, I had clients who got sick. Some of them got very sick. One of my clients in New York City, three members, he and his wife and his son all got sick. They were down for a couple of weeks. Luckily, they were younger, and they made it through. Also, it affected. I was supposed to go to East Coast for a trip, and had this, smackdown, let's call it, happen, not or had this smackdown not happen, I would have flown to New York and traveled to Connecticut and went right through the hot zone. So, thank my lucky stars for that. And I've had other friends who have had it. Luckily, I don't know of anyone else that passed away, but there have been a lot of people who sadly got lost in this process. Next question.
Yeah. So with that, what do you think about the vaccines, plural, sorry.
If there's gonna be a silver lining from this pandemic, from this virus, and for those of you who, we can look for blame, you can go look for whatever you want. Viruses have been around for a long time. In fact, when they go to outer space and they're looking for life, in all likelihood, it's going to be bacteria, or it's going to be a virus. It's going to be some little, something, because these things are nasty. I mean, from our perspective, they're nasty. And the interesting part about it is that there were, like, the two gold standard vaccines, which are Pfizer and the Moderna, and I guess it's
Moderna.
Moderna. Well, yeah, but those are the gold standard, and both of them have an interesting path, or past, in which that people were working on this technology and didn't have the money, and COVID came along, and what governments did is they spent the money and put just tons of resources in it. And of course, there were, like, at one time 150 different vaccines in the process. And the amazing part about it is that we're probably going to find ways to attack a lot of other things that we didn't know how to do before. And that's actually a good thing. So in a lot of ways, that'll be kind of the good part about it. I think that the vaccines are amazing that they happen so quickly, and it shows that oftentimes we need a crisis to actually step up and figure out how to get things done. Hate to think about the toll of what it took to get here, but I think the vaccines are absolutely amazing. And now we have, I believe, four of them: the AstraZeneca, and then the J&J, and then there's actually a fifth one that's working its way through. But it is a big task, and it is going to be a long time before this all works out. But I think that the vaccines are amazing, and in fact, my wife had her first shot, and she'll get her second shot in just a week or so. And I'm very happy with that. Because of it, by the way, I ended up having to go and do car trips, or I mean, it was a van and an SUV, but essentially drive to Denver to take care of some business, because I won't get on airplanes until I get vaccinated. So, all right, what's the next question?
So how about the vaccine rollout?
Well, people of all stripes and all political persuasions can complain about how we reacted to it originally, but the rollout proves that bureaucracies are bureaucracies. And I'll just say it has been a cluster, dumpster fire, and some other bad adjective. I mean, it has been disastrous, in my opinion, not well organized, not put together. For any of you who are desirous of figuring out how to do this, It is the Hunger Games. And yes, I understand that we are constrained by how much product that we have and production issues. But I'm going to tell you right now that they did a really poor job. I mean, for the state of California to be supposedly at the forefront, cutting edge of technology, terrible, opaque, no information. Originally, we thought our doctor was going to do it, found out our doctor isn't going to do the vaccines. And you know why? Because the paperwork is so onerous. All of this stuff is so onerous. The fact that we talked to our doctor, I mean, her cardiologist, we talked to her general practitioner, and it's my wife's cardiologist, and nobody had the information. The reason I don't know, but the state of California really dropped the ball. And frankly, every time I see a Politico, I'm going to just basically get into their grill about it because it has been awful, and I think it has been created stress that didn't need to be created. Because actually, when you have 330 million people in the United States, I mean, I'm not saying that you give everybody a little ball that has their number on it and everybody line up. But I'm just telling you that it could have been done a lot better, and it still is not done very well. And in my case, I'm waiting for the next tranche. I mean, go look at the COVID vaccine rollout plan. What can I say? The French invented this. French bureaucrats invented this. How can you get more confusing? I mean, it's ridiculous. Because here's the reality. If you don't get people vaccinated and you don't shoot as much as you can into people's arms, then you're not going to achieve what science is talking about. And by the way, the science says it doesn't matter who you shoot as long as you shoot 70% of the population. But reality is that certain populations are more affected than others. So as far as I'm concerned, I am hopping mad, pissed at how poorly they've done this. And in fact, have a friend who can get a vaccine, but has been deterred because she was waiting for her healthcare provider to tell her about it. And the sad part about it is that she did not realize that they're never going to call her ever. Disaster. And by the way, I have called the hotline for the state of California. Uh, Worse than a dumpster fire. You get better support calling half-baked, terrible, high-tech companies who have the worst customer service in the world. These people were so unskilled at having been around call centers for coming up on 48 years. I mean, give me a break. Awful, awful. And all of them were whining they need more money. No, you need better leadership and you need people who know what they're doing. So that's how I feel. Okay. So what's the next one?
So, with how you feel about the vaccine, will you get the vaccine?
I will. I want to get the vaccine, and I want to get the gold standard one. Again, I'm just, from what all the research I've done is that it's the, Moderna and the, said it right this time, and then the Pfizer. But yeah, I want to go get it. And now I'm just waiting for that to drop. And I will tell very few people of how I figured out how to get my wife's figured out and done, because it's quiet because, you really have to figure this out. This is Hunger Games. You got to be in front of people because the way they're lazily rolling this out, and I don't care what the headlines say that we're going to get everybody done by May 31st. This group of people couldn't organize, uh, you know, I don't know what, potato salad for a picnic. I mean, it's just crazy. Yeah. I'm trying not to swear a hell of a lot today, but I mean, it's like I couldn't figure out how to get potato salad to a picnic because they suck at it. So, we'll see about May 31st. I believe that they will not get it done because they're not organized. Every single person in the United States should know approximately where they stand and how they're registered, and they should be ready to go. Ain't happening. Ain't happening. I mean, the state of California just started like 2 weeks ago, just started with this, how the counties could get organized. And not all the counties are online with their new portal. Wow, you guys had all that time and you didn't build it, test it, and know that it works? Shameful. Okay, so the answer is yes, I will get the vaccine. Looking forward to it. And once I do, I will then, hallelujah, go out there and start traveling again. And that will help my business a lot. So I'm looking forward to that. And now it's a matter of one, don't get it, don't get COVID, don't get COVID, and don't get COVID. And then the other is as soon as it opens up, Hunger Games, find my way to get in and get my shot as quickly as I possibly can. All right, Sandra, what's the, we got run short on time. What is the final question?
All right, so
Oh, wait,
looking
wait,
for,
wait.
ooh.
Hang on a second. I didn't ask you this. Hang on. So how about yourself? Will you get the vaccine?
Yeah, I'll get it. It'll be probably a very long time, young, healthy, probably bottom of the totem pole. So it's going to be a while before I can even have it. So I think right now we're at like 70 and up, and comorbidities are allowed to get it. And my mom works at a nursing home, so she's had hers since the beginning of January, actually. So
Okay.
she's doing well. Yeah. So
Okay.
they're taking high priority people first in the worst areas, and then they're kind of spreading it out. So
you don't get special dispensation because you have a PS5?
no, I don't,
Okay. Oh,
unfortunately. But maybe
okay.
I could bribe someone with a PS5. Maybe that'll work. There you go.
There you go. There you go. All right. What is our last question for today?
All right. Looking forward, what do you think is going to happen?
Well, I think what's going to happen is that we're going to live differently going forward. We have just gotten a shock to the system. We have to deal with a new reality. This, like every virus that we've had before, will start to mutate, and we're going to end up probably getting booster shots. As time goes on. The crazy part about it is that a lot of people don't get flu shots. They'll tell you why they don't get them. I had somebody tell me that they taught fourth grade once and they didn't get sick. So they had some kind of special, something to stop them from ever getting it. All I can say is that this is much deadlier than a regular flu. So I think what's going to happen is that we're going to see parts of society are going to lurch open. Parts of the country are going to open up sooner than others. Like Texas is saying, "Hey, we're going to do it." Florida, California, who knows when they're going to do it. But all I can say is that you have to figure out how to go about your business in your life and get yourself back on track. I think that there's going to be a lot of reluctance to let people get that freedom again. And all I'm going to tell you is that I'm a believer in free minds and free markets. And I believe that we should open this back up and get people vaccinated and move on. I also know that if you don't get the vaccine, in all likelihood in the future is that you won't be able to get on an airplane. I know you'll definitely not be able to travel to foreign countries because this is going to be around for a long time. So for those of you who thought there was going to be a snapback, this is not a snapback. This is not a it's we have deflected to a different trajectory. We are on a different trajectory as long as we're going to go out. And with that, what I'd like to say is that if you're out there and you're thinking about getting a vaccine, as far as I can tell, it's the smartest way to go. I gambled professionally for 4 years in Vegas. I consider myself a man who bets, and I would bet the odds that I'd rather have the vaccine and have a 90, 97, 98% chance that I'm not going to get it, and I'm not going to spread it, and I'm not going to have to worry about it, than not. For all of you who think you're going to be lucky, where were you when I used to take people's money in Vegas? Because I met a lot of people who thought they were going to be lucky. And what they did was they ended up with an experience and no money. Well, this is more important than money. It's your life. So my suggestion, from my opinion, not as a scientist, Dr. Speed Selling is something that I bestowed upon myself. But from my sense of where we're at is that I believe that if you have half a wit and you look this over, as long as you're not going to, not have some kind of weird something that means you can't take it, which that's a really tiny part of the population, is go get yourself vaccinated. The sooner you do, the faster this strain dies out, and then we'll deal with the next one. So with that, I want to thank Sandra for coming on. Thank you, Sandra.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for watching. And I'll remind you, go to the Facebook page, Position to Win book, and also go to the YouTube and subscribe. Leave some comments. Say what you think. And what I'm going to say is, I hope that every single one of you gets the vaccine before you get COVID. And with that, I'm John Palmadosha, Dr. Speed Selling. This has been the Raging Verbalist number 67. And until next time, stay healthy, stay strong, stay smart, and we'll talk to you in a really short period of time. Take care. Bye-bye.